How to sell products on eBay. The first thing you'll need to do is create a user on eBay. It is extremely important to bid on at least one item in the first 30 days in order to activate your new eBay account. By bidding on at least one item, it will remove the new user flag in eBay's computers, which will prevent eBay from removing your ID. If you do not bid on any items, you don't need to win any auctions. Just at minimum bid on a 99-cent auction to activate the account will suffice. You can sign up for an eBay account directly at www.ebay.com. Top 5 tips on how to sell on eBay. How to sell on eBay. Tip number 1. Choose the right products to sell. Since most people don't know anything about e-commerce and building websites and such, most folks will start out by selling products on eBay, then paying someone to build a website once the money starts coming in. The big question is, what is the hot product sell? What is a hot product to sell on eBay to make money fast? Well, while it's true that selling products on eBay can be a quick, low-cost way to launch an online business, following the herd by selling the hot product of the moment is not a great idea. To the contrary, chances are you will be stomped in the ground by the herd and left lying in the dust with your unsold inventory in hand. The most successful eBay sellers are those who understand that success on eBay relies on many of the same factors as success in a brick-and-mortar business. Smart sellers research the marketplace and the competition to determine the sellability and profitability of the product. Smart sellers test the market with one or two before committing to a product line and tying up their cash reserves in inventory that may never sell. Smart sellers adjust their product offerings until they find a product or product line that sells consistently. The last point is perhaps the most important. Long-term eBay success does not come from one-off sales. The key to real eBay success is to find a product that sells well and sell that product over and over again. There are several websites where you can find excellent products that can ship products directly to your customers. Once you sell their products, these companies are often called drop ship companies. Will offer you the best service of all, since they will gather products from several manufacturers all in one place. Plus, they will offer their deep drop shipping services to all their members at no extra cost. There are other websites that offer you the wholesale sources only, which means that you will need to work with the manufacturers directly in order to sell the products on eBay. Tip number 2. Preparing to sell. Using online auctions is a relatively inexpensive way to promote your products or services. On the downside, they can be very time consuming to post to, especially if you're only making a few dollars profit per sale. Several steps are involved before you can post your auction on major sites such as eBay or Yahoo Shopping auctions. If you're new to selling via online auctions, the following step will make listing your item a smooth and easy process. 1. Plan your item title and description. Give some thought to naming and describing your item. What will buyers most want to know about it? What are its most appealing characteristics? What words might buyers use to search for your item? Number 2. Write your HTML code. If you plan to include HTML, complete and test your code before you get started with the listing process. Learn more about HTML. 3. Have a good picture of your item in an appropriate digital format. JPEG is recommended. If you host your own photos, have your photos uploaded to your service. In some cases, you'll need your photos stored on your computer's hard drive. 4. Have the item on hand. Keep the item close by in case you think of other things you want to add to your description. In addition, you'll want to ship the item to the buyer ASAP. 5. Plan your pricing. You may want to do a little research into the selling prices of other items similar to yours. This will help you set your starting price. 6. Registration. This usually will require your credit, debit card, and bank account information. It is recommended you write down your registration information, username, and password, or save it in a place you will remember in the future. You're now prepared to sell your item. A few things to keep in mind after you've made the sell. 1. Communicate with the buyer. Some auction sites offer a checkout service in which you must verify before receiving payment. Contact the buyer directly if you have not heard from the buyer within 3 days of your listings in. Receive payment eBay at Yahoo. Offer their own payment solutions. Another popular method used by auctioneers is PayPal. If the buyer hasn't already made payment, send them a letter explaining how they should proceed. 3. Ship your order immediately. You don't want your buyer to get angry. Many auctions provide buyer and seller feedback systems. It's hard to sell products with a bad rating and several negative buyer comments. Tip number 3. When is the best time to list your items? You may think that you should list your item on Saturday mornings because that is when you have the most free time, or on Monday nights after 10 because the family is in bed and you finally have total concentration. You need to ask yourself just how many possible buyers will be at their computers at closing time, especially when 10 p.m. on the West Coast is 1 a.m. on the East Coast. There are lots of possible buyers shopping at lunchtime during the week, but because of the enormous amount of traffic at that time, you really cut down on the possibility of last-minute bidding if the bids are all in an internet traffic jam and can't get through at all. The amount of bidders available at closing time is of utmost importance to your auction. Most of the bidding on any auction will occur in the first 24 hours when it is listed as new, and on the last day when it is listed as ending today, with most people only looking at one of these 2 times, and the bulk of the serious bidding will be in the last 5 minutes. An auction is truly at its best when 2 or more people fight over your item, and they may not be awake to do so at 1 in the morning. When to list your items is best decided on actual sales histories of your particular items. Hardware and tools may get more male bidders who are looking on Saturday afternoon, and Pokemon cards may get more attention from kids right after school, etc. So check the sales of completed items. You should be able to see a definite pattern for each type of item you plan to list. This is the first step if your item sells, but on a weekday evening, now you need to say if there is also a second pattern. It's sold best on Tuesday one week and Thursday the next week. Why? One big factor in evening sales now is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. There are almost 2 bidders at their computers when this show is on. This show happens to be moved around from week to week. On top of that, it is on at 8 p.m. That means 8 p.m. on both coasts, so West Coast sellers have to work around 5 p.m. through 8 p.m. and the East Coast seller has to work around 8 p.m. through 11 p.m. There are many more factors that come into play. Watch the weather forecast for all parts of the country. If the East Coast is due for heavy rains, more possible bidders will be available at their computers instead of enjoying the spring or summer weather, and vice versa. If an area is in the middle of a terrible heat wave, they may be hiding inside at their computer instead of doing anything outside. Great weather is bad for sales. You may not want to have items close on Thanksgiving afternoon, when most of the country is sitting down to a great meal, or in the evening on the day of a presidential election. Contrary to this logic, Christmas morning may be a good time to have items closed because many people don't have family with whom to share their day, or they are not of a Christian faith. Those people would see this as a great time to sneak in a few bids. Other people may go shopping on Christmas afternoon to try to buy what they didn't receive for a gift. Selling at the busiest time of the day will make your photos load slower at any time. Using a dial-up connection puts your auctions at risk since they will take longer to load. And since most dial-up connections get lost often, there is always a chance that your photos will not load at all. When either happens, you will lose buyers. Some could bookmark your auction to try again later, but last-minute shoppers don't have time to come back. Cable modem or DSL will make everything you do on the internet at least 10 minutes faster without disconnects. You only need to have your photos not download. during the last half hour of an auction wants to know how important your internet connection is. The real answer to when to list your item is totally relative to as many factors as you can think of. You will need to do research on the past and try to foresee the future. Good luck on the later. That will be the first part of how to sell on eBay.